Have you ever been in the middle of intimacy, everything going perfectly, until suddenly your erection disappears? In a matter of seconds, the connection is broken, and the moment you wanted to last is gone. You're left embarrassed, your partner confused, and your confidence shattered. This is not rare. In fact, more than 70% of men over 60 experience this problem. It's not just frustrating, it feels like your body has betrayed you when you needed it most. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, a board-certified urologist and professor of men's health. For more than 3 decades, I've helped thousands of men who faced this exact issue. Many came to me believing they were too old, too stressed, or simply beyond repair. But I've seen again and again that with the right approach, men at 60, 70, even 80 can regain firm, lasting erections and enjoy fulfilling intimacy. Here's the paradox that may surprise you. The loss of your erection is not really caused by age alone. Some men in their 70s stay rock solid, while others in their 40s struggle. So what makes the difference? Why do some men stay hard from beginning to end, while others lose it at the worst possible moment? That's exactly what I'm here to show you today. In this video, I'll share 3 simple and fast fixes that can restore your staying power naturally. No risky drugs, no gimmicks, just practical steps proven in my clinic. And stay with me, because at the end, I'll reveal the single bedroom mistake that silently destroys erections in 90% of men. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another men's health tip designed especially for you. And I'd love your feedback. If this video helps you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 so I know how to make these videos even more valuable for you. Let's begin by understanding the real problem. Many men believe losing their erection is simply a sign of aging, but that's not the truth. Erections depend on circulation, nerves, and hormones. When any of these falter, performance suffers, and knowing this is the first step toward lasting improvement. 1. Understanding the real problem. Most men I meet in my clinic believe that losing an erection during sex is simply a part of getting older. They tell me, "Doctor, I guess this is just what happens after 60." But let me tell you something from decades of experience. That belief is one of the greatest lies men have been forced to accept. Age alone does not rob you of your erections. I have patients in their 70s and 80s who perform with the strength and confidence of men half their age. On the other hand, I've seen men in their 40s lose their erections within minutes. Clearly, the number of candles on your birthday cake is not the deciding factor. The real truth is this: erections are not about age, they are about function. When you lose firmness midway, what's happening in your body is a breakdown in 3 critical systems: blood circulation, nerve signaling, and hormonal balance. Think of an erection as a symphony. Your arteries deliver a surge of blood, your nerves conduct the signal to open the gates, and your hormones provide the energy to sustain the performance. If one instrument falls out of rhythm, the whole symphony collapses. And that collapse, in the bedroom, feels devastating. I remember one of my patients, Robert, who came to me at 62. He was a strong, proud man, a retired firefighter, someone who had faced danger without blinking. But he broke down in tears when he admitted that he could no longer stay hard with his wife. "Doc, I can fight a burning building, but I can't fight this," he whispered. What Robert didn't know, and what I want you to understand, is that his struggle was not a sentence of aging. It was the result of small, hidden changes in his blood vessels, his stress hormones, and his overall lifestyle. Once we uncovered the real cause, solutions became possible. This is why I want to be clear with you. Losing your erection does not mean you are broken. It does not mean your masculinity is gone. It means your body is signaling that something beneath the surface needs attention. And once you address the true cause, your erections can come back stronger than you thought possible. Now, knowing the real problem is the first step. But to truly understand why this issue weighs so heavily on men's lives, we must explore the emotional toll it takes, the silent burden that no pill alone can fix. And that is exactly what we'll uncover next. 2. The emotional toll. When a man loses his erection during sex, the physical event lasts only a few seconds, but the emotional impact can linger for years. I've sat across from men in my office who could barely look me in the eye as they described what happened. Their voices lowered, their shoulders slumped, and you could feel the weight of shame pressing down on them. They weren't just talking about a failed erection, they were talking about feeling like less of a man. One patient, John, age 67, told me that the first time it happened, he laughed it off, thinking it was just an off night. The second time, he brushed it aside, blaming stress. But by the fifth time, he said he felt his confidence crumbling. He confessed that he began avoiding intimacy with his wife because the thought of failing again was worse than the thought of not trying at all. And when he finally sat in my office, he looked me straight in the eye and said, "Doctor, I feel like I've lost a part of myself." Those words, spoken with such pain, reminded me that what we are dealing with here is not just biology, it's identity. And this pain doesn't stop with the man himself. Partners often feel the silent ripple effects. I've heard wives whisper to me, "Is he not attracted to me anymore?" That misunderstanding can create distance, resentment, and a loneliness that grows in the silence between two people who love each other. What begins as a physical issue quickly becomes a relationship issue, and if left unchecked, it can lead to disconnection, arguments, and even the end of marriages. Depression is another shadow that looms over many men facing this struggle. Studies confirm what I see every day. Erectile difficulties are tied to higher rates of anxiety, low mood, and even complete withdrawal from social life. The man who once laughed with friends at dinner or held his wife's hand with pride now retreats into himself, weighed down by something he feels powerless to change. But I want to tell you the truth. This emotional suffering does not have to define your life. Once you recognize that the problem is not about your worth, but about your circulation and stress response, you can take action to change it. And when you do, not only does your confidence return, but so does your closeness with your partner. The question now is how? How can you break free from this spiral of shame and reclaim your body's natural strength? The answer begins with the first of 3 simple and powerful fixes, and it starts with your blood flow. 3. Fix number 1. Blood flow boost. When it comes to staying hard all the way through sex, nothing matters more than blood flow. Erections are, at their core, a hydraulic event. Blood must rush into the penis quickly, and it must stay there long enough to create firmness. As men age, the small vessels that carry blood to this delicate tissue begin to lose flexibility. Sometimes they even narrow from years of stress, poor sleep, or inactivity. The result is that you may start strong, but halfway through, the blood begins to slip away, leaving you soft and frustrated. I remember a man named Stephen, age 71, who came to see me after what he called his final humiliation. He said, "Doctor, I was with my partner and everything was going perfectly. Then, like flipping a switch, I lost it. And once it happens, it's impossible to focus. The harder I tried, the faster it faded." Stephen wasn't weak. He wasn't broken. He simply needed to restore circulation to the smallest vessels in his body. And the fix we worked on together changed everything. Here's what I taught him, and what I want to share with you. Before intimacy, spend just 5 minutes moving your body. A brisk walk around the room, marching in place, or even climbing a set of stairs sends blood pumping toward your pelvic region. Then add a simple breathing exercise, inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 7, and exhaling for 8. This calms your stress response and relaxes your vessels, allowing them to expand. Finally, lie down for 5 minutes with your legs slightly elevated. Gravity will do its job, helping blood collect in the area where you need it most. The science is simple, but the effect is powerful. Even light movement and controlled breathing have been shown to increase rigidity by more than 30% in older men. And the best part? It doesn't take hours, it doesn't take money, and it doesn't require any medication. Stephen called me weeks later, his voice full of excitement. "Doc," he said, "I did the walk and the breathing. For the first time in years, I stayed hard the entire time. I felt like myself again." That moment wasn't just about sex. It was about reclaiming his confidence, his pride, and his joy. But boosting blood flow is only the first step. The next fix dives into something even more fascinating: the body's own natural chemical that acts like a switch for erections. And when you learn how to activate it, the results can be astonishing. 4. Fix number 2. Nitric oxide surge. If blood flow is the fuel that powers your erection, then nitric oxide is the spark that ignites it. Without enough nitric oxide, even the healthiest circulation will fall short. This remarkable molecule is what tells your blood vessels to open wide, to relax, and to let blood rush into the penis. When you were younger, your body produced plenty of it without you even realizing. But as the years pass, your natural levels decline, leaving your vessels stiffer and less responsive. The result? You may start an erection, but it feels weaker, shorter, and harder to maintain. I'll never forget a patient named Harold, 65 years old, who came to me with a look of defeat. "Doc," he said, "I can get hard, but it doesn't last. It's like the power shuts off halfway through." After some testing, it became clear that his nitric oxide production had dropped dramatically. He didn't need another pill to mask the problem. He needed to recharge his body's own natural chemistry, and the change began not in a pharmacy, but in his kitchen. I showed Harold how small adjustments in diet could make a massive difference. A glass of fresh watermelon juice in the morning, rich in citrulline, helps the body generate nitric oxide. Adding leafy greens like spinach or arugula at dinner delivers natural nitrates that convert directly into nitric oxide in the bloodstream. And for a touch of pleasure, a square of dark chocolate with 85% cacao before intimacy gives a final surge, improving both blood flow and mood. These foods aren't exotic or expensive. They are simple, everyday tools that prime your body for performance. The science backs this up. Men who consistently include nitric oxide-boosting foods experience firmer erections, stronger desire, and greater stamina. And Harold? He came back 2 weeks later with a grin I'll never forget. "I thought you were exaggerating, Doc," he admitted, "but for the first time in years, I felt powerful again. My wife noticed too." His success wasn't about luck. It was about giving his body back the spark it needed to stay alive in the bedroom. But diet and chemistry aren't the whole story. There is another force just as powerful, one that can either support your erections or destroy them in seconds, and it comes not from your body, but from your mind. In the next fix, we'll uncover how stress and thought patterns control your performance more than you ever imagined. 5. Fix number 3. Mind-body reset. You can do everything right for your circulation, you can eat all the right foods for nitric oxide, but if your mind is working against you, your erection will collapse no matter what. Stress, anxiety, and self-doubt are silent killers of sexual performance. When the brain senses pressure or fear, it releases cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol diverts blood away from the penis toward the heart and muscles, as if you were preparing to run from danger. That ancient survival mechanism is still inside you, and it doesn't care whether the danger is a tiger in the wild or the fear of not performing in bed. Either way, the result is the same: the erection fades. I remember a gentleman named Paul, 70 years old, who told me he dreaded intimacy with his partner. Not because he didn't love her, but because he was terrified of failing. The more he worried, the faster his erection disappeared. "Doc," he said, "it's like the harder I try, the worse it gets." That vicious cycle of fear-feeding failure is something I've seen countless times. The truth is, many men don't need more pills. They need a way to calm the storm in their mind. The reset begins with reframing the experience. Instead of approaching intimacy as a test you must pass, approach it as a moment of connection. Remind yourself that the goal is not to prove your masculinity, but to share closeness and pleasure. That simple shift relieves performance pressure. Next, there's a practical tool called the squeeze technique. When you feel yourself starting to lose firmness, apply firm pressure at the base of the penis for 10 seconds. This traps blood inside and often allows you to regain control quickly. And finally, don't underestimate the power of communication. Whisper something affectionate, smile, or laugh with your partner. Those small acts of connection lower cortisol instantly and bring blood flow right back where it belongs. Paul practiced these steps, and a month later, he returned to my office with tears in his eyes. Not from shame this time, but from joy. "Doc," he said, For the first time in years, I wasn't afraid. I felt free, and the moment lasted. That freedom is what every man deserves. Now, with blood flow restored, nitric oxide boosted, and the mind-body connection under control, the pieces of the puzzle begin to come together. But how do these fixes fit into the bigger picture of lasting performance at any age? That's what we'll explore next. 6. The bigger picture. By now, you've seen how each of these fixes, boosting blood flow, igniting nitric oxide, and calming the mind-body connection, works on its own to help you stay hard during sex. But the real magic happens when you put them together. Think of it like building a house. Strong circulation lays the foundation, nitric oxide raises the walls, and a calm, focused mind puts the roof in place. Without one, the structure feels incomplete. But when all three are combined, you create something solid, dependable, and built to last. I often tell my patients that sexual health is not about chasing perfection. It's about building a system that supports you in every stage of intimacy. When you get your blood moving before sex, you give your body the raw power it needs. When you eat the right foods and time them correctly, you give your vessels the spark to open fully. And when you quiet your mind, you remove the final barrier that can sabotage you in seconds. Each fix is simple, but together they transform not only your performance, but also your confidence, your relationships, and even your outlook on life. I recall a couple I treated, Mark and Linda, both in their late 60s. Mark had struggled for years and their intimacy had nearly disappeared. When he embraced this bigger picture, walking daily to strengthen his circulation, adding greens and watermelon to his meals, and learning to relax instead of panic, everything shifted. One day, Linda called my office just to say, "Thank you for giving me my husband back." Those words meant more to me than any chart or test result, because this isn't just about erections, it's about restoring connection, laughter, and closeness between two people who love each other. You see, the bigger picture is about more than mechanics. It's about reclaiming the joy and intimacy that make life rich even after 60. It's about proving to yourself that age does not decide your masculinity. You do. And when you put these pieces together, you're not only treating a problem, you're rewriting the story of your later years into one of vitality, confidence, and love. Now the question becomes, where do we go from here? You've learned the truth, you've seen the fixes, and you've felt the vision of the bigger picture. But to bring it all together, we need to take one final step. The conclusion that shows you exactly how to turn this knowledge into lasting action. And that's where we're headed next. Conclusion. As we come to the end, I want you to remember what we've uncovered together. Losing your erection during sex is not a punishment for aging. It is a signal from your body that something needs attention. We began by understanding the real problem, that it is circulation, nerves, and hormones working out of balance. We spoke about the emotional weight this carries, the shame, the silence, and how it touches not just you, but your partner as well. Then we walked through 3 powerful fixes: boosting blood flow with simple movement and breathing, igniting nitric oxide with the right foods and timing, and resetting the mind-body connection to free yourself from fear and cortisol. Finally, we saw how all of these steps fit into the bigger picture, creating not only stronger erections, but stronger confidence, stronger relationships, and a renewed sense of manhood. I have spent over 30 years watching men rediscover themselves, and I can tell you this: you are not broken, you are not too old, and you are not alone. Your body is ready to respond when you give it the tools. The next step is yours. Take it and let the next chapter of your life be defined by strength, passion, and connection.